Hello, and welcome to the Art of Being You podcast, where we explore the human experience. This is an audible journey of our spiritual and collective experiences. Our healing really is our medicine. It's how we learn, grow, inspire, and connect. It's how we uncover our purpose. Within our healing is the gold, our medicine. My musings and conversations about consciousness and authenticity, true nature, personal paths of transformation and healing are what this podcast is all about. The Art of Being You connects the experiences that shape us, our gifts that are for our growth, and our purpose for being here. Thank you for listening. Namaste. Welcome to today's episode. Today, I have the absolute joy and pleasure of introducing Natalia Schifini. She's a colleague of mine, and she has spent more than 20 years of studying and learning about holistic healing techniques, coaching, and fitness to support women's empowerment. And she has worked with hundreds of women. The way she works with women is by shining light into the areas that need healing, attention, and letting go of something that just no longer works. She uses healing, mindfulness, movement, and coaching to step into the next level of growth and expansion for them. She has certifications as a holistic life and wellness coach. She's a Golden Light Master Healer, certified personal trainer, a yoga instructor of Kundalini and Hatha. She's a licensed hypnotherapist, an NLP practitioner, and a certified Scrum Master. Welcome to the show. So welcome, Natalia. You are going to be the first of my season for 2024. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here with you, Donia, today. I'm so excited to get to know you and have this conversation, and it's just a beautiful space.
Yeah. Um, I am I am over the moon that you've agreed to do this with me because I've been watching what you're doing, and I just think it's really phenomenal being in the holistic life coach arena that you're in and all of the beautiful souls that you get to work with. And so my first question for you is going to be, tell me a little bit about your life story. How have you arrived? How have you arrived in this moment at this time?
Ooh, so I'm originally from Argentina. You might be able to tell because I have a little bit of an accent. And I came to United States at the age of 19. So it's more than a half a life ago. I came here to study hospitality. I was studying hospitality in Argentina, and I had an opportunity to kind of basically transfer all my credits from there to
Mm.
here. And that's what brought me in. I came to study for 3 months, then I did an internship for 3 months, and then I worked in hospitality for about 5 years. And it was a beautiful experience because I worked in the Willard Intercontinental, which is a very fancy hotel in the Washington, D.C. area, metro area, 1 block away from the White House. And I love the experience. I learned a lot about customer service, how to take care of people. But my biggest passion always has been wellness. I played volleyball all my life. And since a young girl, I always loved exercise, sports. And I had a little bit of a challenge with weight loss. I always had issues with weight, and my coach always empowered me to be able to take it on. And I had to lose like 30 pounds in 3 months to be able to be a part of the team. And so basically, that experience of having gone through that challenge and being kind of in a position where the coach posed a challenge, it put me in a position where I had to learn how to take care of myself, how to eat right, how to exercise in a way that I could lose weight. And that's an experience that marked me for the rest of my life. So when I started coaching as a wellness coach, as a personal trainer, and as a yoga instructor, that's a natural pull to be able to help women with whatever it is that they are dealing with, overweight, or having to get stronger, more flexible. Due to my personal experience with it, I felt that that was a good place to start, basically. So I got out on the hospitality world and I became a personal trainer, yoga instructor, hands-on healer. And it kind of step after step led me to where I am. But it's basically my desire, my dream to make a difference. And my biggest dream is to make a difference with women. I find that a lot of times we stretch ourselves and multitask, and in the process of doing so much for so many people, we forget about ourselves. So the people that I tend to pull towards my group and all the activities that I offer, free and coaching programs, are mostly for the woman that feels that in taking care of everything and everybody, many times they forget about themselves, their dreams, their desires, their self care, their self love, and get overwhelmed. And so I kind of, set the perspective of this is your body, mind, and soul. You went upside down, you're at the bottom of the barrel. We got to bring you back up. And it takes
Mm.
intentionality basically to get there, right? We know that it's not as easy as understanding what's going on. And so in my 6 month program, I basically help women distinguish why self-care is not selfish, why it is required that we take care of ourselves so we can be a better version for the people we touch and live with and interact with in a regular basis. And I mostly want women to take on the dreams that they relegated in the past. They kind of like, oh, you know what? I don't have time for that. I can't focus on that. It's not the time. I don't have the money or whatever, to bring it back and around to say, hey, what were those dreams that you were thinking of when you were 19, 20 years old? What were you dreaming about being? And that inspires me really tremendously. It just brings me alive because we tend to forget, we get distracted. That basically is the process that I can help women the most with, because it's been my journey. I love making a difference. And sometimes in making a difference, we forget, that the most important person is ourselves.
Yes. Thank you so much for bringing that whole topic forward because I feel that there are some really big tides shifting
Hmm.
within the planet these days, specifically with women
Hmm.
um, stepping back into their self-care or exploring what it means beyond a massage every year or
Hmm.
their, the cliche of chocolate and bubble bath. Um, so out of, I don't want to pigeonhole you by any means, but tell me what your most favorite part of being this coach for other women is. What is that really lights you up inside?
Crossing the finish line and getting amazed
Ah,
myself on what they're capable of making happen in their life. I'm holding space. I'm the channel where I reflect the things that they need to see, but I don't do it. And so it's important that the people that are taking on that commitment to work with me long term, they're ready, they're coachable, they had enough, they reached the bottom. And once they're ready, then there's a beautiful space that opens up that's very magical and very mystical. A lot of things shift in a rapid manner. And even if they have one goal, like one of my clients had one goal, by the 6 months, she had reached so many goals that they weren't even, something she was thinking of. And so many times when we set the determination and we invest in ourselves, time, effort, money, all the things that we need to do, what opens up is much bigger than what we see,
mhm.
visualize, because we even cut short many times in seeing that big, abundant future that's available. And because we don't see it, we cannot create it. So, as a coach, my part is reflecting to people how much bigger than they feel they are and filling up that gap. You feel yourself this big, and then when you expand, align, let go of the baggage, whatever is not longer who you are, then it's almost like chipping the ice to make the sculpture. This beautiful sculpture comes out of underneath, and you're like, wow, I didn't even know that was possible.
I had no idea that was inside me. Yeah, that is an amazing transformation, right?
Yeah,
When they're only
yeah,
expecting maybe to lose a couple pounds or just feel happier, um, you unleash them out into the world with their magic and their mysticism intact. So
yeah,
that's really
yeah,
beautiful. Um,
yeah.
so and yeah, how do how do your clients uh, respond with that when you speak with them about bringing their dreams back? Because I can only imagine. I know with my age, and I think we're probably pretty similar in age. Like my mother's generation, right? Their
Mhm.
dreams, they didn't. I don't think they were ever given much of a chance to even dream very big, and so whether they meant to or not, they kind of passed that on to us. And we've also realized that if we want to make things happen, we have to do it ourselves. We kind of have to get into that arena, whatever that arena is, whether it's losing weight or starting a new business or having kids or whatever it might be. It's amazing once you start to peel back what's holding people back, they start to see that potential of so much more.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, because reality is one thing and what's available is much bigger. But many times when we are in that place of being distracted, overwhelmed, stretched to the max, multitasking, and not in that place of being, the priority upside down in this triangle pointing the wrong direction, we don't see what's available. And we feel guilty about thinking, I want this. I always desire this. So many times those desires and those dreams get pushed down. And it's funny you say that there's been a change or there's a transformation or an opening in society. There is really a process of phoenix rising, like women being empowered, not being quiet down, not relegating their dreams, their desires, making a bigger impact. And I feel that clients initially they don't see the possibility, and a lot of the work for us coaches is to be able to get them to the place of being able to dream again, being aware of what they always wanted, whatever they long for, whatever they got resigned, cynical, frustrated about, and they gave up. I remember when I studied the first time, my dad asked me, "What do you want to be, a gym teacher, or do you want to work in hospitality?" And because those were my two decisions, and he's like, "Okay, well, go for a hospitality because gym teacher you can be anytime you want, and it's not that expensive." Funny enough, I did the whole journey of 10 years in career, and I ended up being so-called gym teacher anyways, right? So it's not about what people say we should be or what they recommend us to be. The soul calling is so strong that sometimes if we're not following it, it's almost like a light has dim. We
Mm.
lose that zest for life and we
Yeah.
feel opaque. We just kind of, dull and bored, and we're not sure what is going on, but we feel almost anxious and depressed. And so
Yeah.
bringing about, yeah,
And
yeah, you can relate.
that leads to, unease in the body, which is basically disease. And
Yes.
it's just, I don't want to use the word appalling because it's a series of, generational things and conditioning of the planet all over, that we do get stuck in or pigeonholed ourselves to, well, my mom worked here, so I'm just going to work here and it was good enough for her, so it'll be fine. But when you, when I work with my clients, I have kind of referenced those kinds of things that,
Mhm.
you know, I've had a massage therapy practice for 16 years and, getting a massage every month is great. And um, my struggle had been to get people um, on a different path of their health. But all they want to do is come in and have me, quote unquote, fix them. And
Ah, yeah,
that is not my role. My role,
right.
like you said, is if anything, it is a mirror to reflect back to you what I'm seeing for you, the good, the
Mhm.
bad, the ugly, whatever it needs. And that in my moving forward, in my elevating my ideas, my possibilities in my own life, we as coaches can inspire people
Mhm.
to maybe think outside that box. Like with you, you know, could have easily kept all of that dream inside and just stuck with hospitality and probably risen to the ranks of whatever those ranks might be in the hospitality industry. But you knew you had a different calling. You have a gift to inspire women.
Yeah, well, as you share what you share now, and you said most people have to follow the standard or what is expected, I would say that the way I've been raised is very unusual and different from most people because although I was raised in Argentina, my parents were both immigrants and they came from a very low socioeconomical class. And they were very blessed to find a way into better things and bigger things. My dad used to fix watches, and he kept on getting robbed. He kept on getting robbed. He kept on getting robbed. He was a small business owner. He couldn't afford losing all his merchandise. So he decided to close the shop where he used to sell these beautiful watches and fix them. And him and my mom found a way to open a pharmacy. Out of all things, serendipitous calling, they had an opportunity to open a pharmacy. So they were both uneducated, very low socioeconomical class, and they, with a lot of steam, strength, drive, persistence, commitment, discipline, all that they could be involved for people in that situation to be able to move forward with a pharmacy. They opened a pharmacy, and it was at the age of 3 for me. And so I was raised in a family where business owners were more common than employees. And I was
Mm.
always encouraged to think outside the box. Furthermore, my growing up was behind a counter where people would come and ask for medicine to fix themselves. I want the cough medicine, I want the acid medicine, I want the blah, 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 weight loss medicine. And I saw over the years, and even my parents owning a pharmacy, they used to tell me like a flu lasts 7 days without medicine and a week with medicine. It's basically the same. We don't need medicine for flu, right? It's like, why do we take it? It's because the doctor told us, right? And so personally, I had gone through the process very recently in 2013 of being diagnosed pre-diabetic.
Mm.
And the doctor wanted to put me on medication. And they were like, if you come back and your numbers don't go back to normal, we're going to have to put you on this medication or that medication. And I basically challenged that belief because as a personal trainer, as a wellness coach, I understand that diabetes type 2 or pre-diabetes is based on lack of self-care many times or routines of exercise and mindfulness and stuff. So from the month of February of 2013 until September of 2013, I managed to go from a pre-diabetic range to completely out of diabetic range. And it was an inspiration for me to show people to do the same. But in the months that I focus in that particular niche and helping this particular people, what I encounter as a little bit of a challenge, going back to the question you asked me, how do people feel? Is that people are more comfortable with doctors giving them a medicine so they can take in many cases, or they're thinking that that medicine will heal them. And the medicines are not designed to heal, they're designed to manage. They're designed to minimize the risk of getting worse, many times to maintain. And so we have to kind of change the way we see healing modalities. And my own healing journey started with having issues with my throat, lots of issues with my throat. So they sent me to speech therapy for 2 years, breathing, piano, tuning, letting go, massage, relax. The second year, my speech therapist looked at me and she said, "It's been a pleasure working with you. I now know I cannot help you." And I recommend you do an inner journey where you start with yoga to figure it out why you can, heal from this issue. And that's how I started with my healing journey. So it was a very
Mm.
introspective journey of following clues to understand what needed to be said so that this throat issue would dissipate. And many times I still deal with issues, but I now know there's a reason behind that. Things that haven't been said need to be said. And, it started a whole 20 years of healing that I now want to empower other women to go through because the doctor doesn't give us the solution, and because prevention is more important than trying to fix the problem. And we can do so many things to do self-healing. And so I think that we have that in common, that we want to lead women to understand there's so much we can do to heal ourselves. And the first book I read on healing was You Can Heal Yourself, right? And so basically that's in a nutshell what I want to share with the world, that there's so many healing modalities that are alternative. And I have 7 or 8 certifications, and depending on what you're dealing with and what the obstacles are and what your journey has been, the tool might be a different one, but it really is also connecting with your innermost, deepest layer of yourself to understand yourself. What do you need? What is missing? What do you need to let go? Where do you need to bring some light to shed it? All that darkness that's been there, right? And it takes a lot of courage. So I think as a coach, it's almost bringing people out to trust that if they face that darkness, that thing that happened that kind of make them stuck or believe that they cannot do it or give up on themselves or think that is not generous or is selfish to do certain thing and think of ourselves, is not the way to go. That in order for us to make a bigger impact and to reach bigger communities, we first need to be centered, grounded, at peace, empowered, inspired. And in order to do that, it's us putting a boundary, giving ourselves what we need, not allowing other things to distract us. And it's easier said than done. So that's why I offer that community, support, accountability, and also a little bit of that bright light, inspiration for people to believe that they're capable, that they can do it, and they don't need to give up on themselves anymore. So it's inspiration mostly that I think has people switch from thinking they cannot do it to maybe it's possible.
Yeah.
And
And I think
yeah.
having people like you even just shine that light a little bit and nurture them and inspire them, like the throat uh, therapist had done with you. This is as far as I can take you. So maybe look at this and this and this. But I think that that is a really crucial part of this, because a lot of women aren't ready. A lot of women are
Mhm.
really afraid, and that's where they're living. That's where they've always been living. Whether it's fear of, success, or fear of failure, or whatever it might be, or fear of disappointment, or shaking up the family, or whatever it might be. I think it takes real bravery to tell your story, to say, I've been there. I know this is going to be really uncomfortable. And what we've been choosing from fear isn't working. It's keeping you sick. It's keeping you held back. And to inspire someone to see life through the eyes of love, as opposed to the through the veil of fear, is so, so powerful. Because our bodies, like, they want to heal. They always are in the process of getting back to homeostasis. And unfortunately, pharmaceuticals do not do that. Like you said, they mask and they manage, which, to each his own. And we're also here to show you, to show every single human, basically, that the power of the human body is so far beyond our grasp that we don't even think about it. And it's interesting, because in my experience with working on bodies, right, and on humans for the last while, bodies are pretty much all the same. And when you can show someone that even just the posture that they're sitting in is causing muscles in the abdomen to pull on the muscles on the low back, causing you low back pain. So you don't need a steroid. You don't need to go get cortisone injections for pain. We just need to sit up straight.
That's right.
And so those
Yeah,
little things can be really powerful, that I can take back my own health. I can actually not have to go to and get these injections every 6 months. Like, I actually have a part to play in this.
yeah. And I think a lot of people never learn the energetic factor of our body. Like we have the physical body, doctors deal with the physical body, and we have this whole energy in the body, right? If we talk about the chakras, the centers of energy along the spine,
Yes.
emotions get trapped in there. And it takes courage to go revisit the emotions that got trapped. And when you say women are in fear, of course they're in fear, because it's almost like when the situations happen and we kind of get resigned, cynical, give up, think we can, think we don't deserve, whatever, that emotion gets trapped in that center of energy and chakra. And until we go and do some work to kind of shift that, transform that, dissipate it, let it go, the emotion is going to be trapped in the physical body, but it's an energy. And so it's kind of a balance between the physical body and the emotional body and the mindfulness and awareness to consciously let go of that which weighs and brings you down
Mm.
instead of accentuate it, talk about it. So when we leave from fear, all we talk about is, I'm a victim. This is what happened to me. It's their fault. I can't believe this happened. I'm stuck. And if we
Mm.
stop telling that story and we become 100% responsible, forgive whatever happened, shine light to bring love to the little us inside of us, then we can heal that situation and stop telling the story that's so dysfunctional. It's not even true. It's almost like a protective mechanism we created not to be in pain. And so, yeah, it takes courage and it's very fearful for most women because we get stuck at the age that we are when the situation happens.
Yeah.
And then every time we're being an adulting, somebody says something that reminds us of that situation, boom, we became Dr. Jekyll. All of a sudden, we go into overwhelm, trigger, attack, defending ourselves, feeling uncomfortable, which is, we call this a conditioned self, believing
Mm.
from fear. But it simply is a trigger from a situation from the past that is not understood, accepted, healed. There's a little bit of darkness, significance, sadness. It is almost trapped in the body. So
Right.
I
It
know that
hasn't
when
been
you do,
digested, right? It
yes,
has
exactly.
everything has to be digested. What we see, what we hear, what we taste, what we touch, what we smell.
Yep.
And I'm energetically, I don't I think that's a really big part of it, you know.
Hmm.
I've noticed a huge difference in my life over the last several years of not having to sit in front of a television and watch horror films or, you know, the things that never really resonated with me, but I just did it because that's what was happening in the moment, and I didn't think I had much of a choice. So all of those things and the triggers are real and they can come out of left field sometimes. And if you can at least see them as a trigger, that's like step one, right? Awareness. You have to be aware of
Hmm.
what's actually happening in your body, in your world, in your reality in that moment. And if it's not okay, then um, I think there's a really beautiful opportunity to seek help. But that's
Hmm.
the other caveat, right? We don't like to ask
Hmm.
for help.
Yep, we don't like to ask for help because we got it. We're super
Yeah.
women. I call it the red cape syndrome.
Oh, I love that. I love that, Natalia. The red cape
We're
syndrome.
here to save the world. We can't save ourselves for anything, but it's like we become superheroes for everything and everybody, and then we start sinking. So it's
Yeah.
almost like jumping on somebody else's boat to paddle when the boat is sinking, but your boat is sinking too. Why don't you paddle in your boat before we jump on the next boat? So it's an interesting dynamic, but that's why I think it takes a lot of love and care and inspiration and vulnerability and authenticity to show, even as a coach, we are a little bit ahead in the journey we're sharing with our clients. We're human beings. We have our weakness, our journey, our fears, our situations that got us stuck in life. And basically, when we become a coach, we basically choose to share a part of our journey that we think is going to make a difference for people.
Mm.
And we do, to the best of our ability, hold space for them to be able to do it. But it's not that we're completely foreign to the situation. Many times we had to overcome that, heal that, step ahead, have the courage to face many things. And that's how we can hold space for another person, have the compassion.
Yeah.
I know that you probably, like me, started with personal growth and development a long time ago. I started in 2000 and I would say 1997 with Luis
Oh,
Hay,
I
You
think it
Can
was
Heal Your
much
Life.
farther back than that. You were probably 6 or 7 years old.
That's true. I was a weird in the family, aren't we all, right? I didn't understand. I was always very sensitive,
Uh-huh.
very,
Yeah.
very strong, but very sensitive. And I could just pick up on energies and right away. So it was always different. See, well, yeah, but my conscious process of healing,
Hmm.
I think it started maybe, yeah, it's a little earlier, a little bit before the teenager years in losing my voice, playing sports, not understanding why that happened. Um, yeah, basically that's when it started. But I think that a lot of us women, unless you get exposed to that world of personal growth and transformation, it's not something that we consider or think of because it hasn't been taught in school. It's not a common thing parents teach their kids. It's missing in society. I think we have a big mission in being able to understand there's a side of us that needs to let go of what happened before so we can be present and create a different future. So we heal ancestors, we heal our legacy, we heal the past and generations when we go back to do that work. And it's heavy lifting sometimes,
It
but that frees us.
it is heavy lifting, but it's also so beautiful to watch the ripple effect when one person starts to empower themselves and heal. Everyone in their immediate vicinity gets a little hit of that, whether
Yeah,
it's a word that they've said or watching somebody physically change or trying something new and stepping out of their comfort zone. Like, I think that that's one of the most beautiful byproducts of helping women elevate to their true nature. Well, remember, I should say, to their true nature of who they really are, because other people will see that. And it's, maybe a cliche, but it's like, I kind of want what I want what she's taken. I want what she's drinking there. What is that? What magic elixir is that?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I really think that that's the case when we bring about our spiritual gifts because we're not super women. Coaches are not gifted beyond anybody else, but
exactly.
because we went through the journey, we have the capacity to hold space and
Hmm.
encourage people. And so basically that's all that happens. The person that is being coached is the one that does everything. We're just, we all can benefit from that relationship. Us as coaches, we should all have a coach to be empowered and to move forward in the process because we get stuck too. We fall into fears, we tell ourselves lies. And unless we have developed that capacity to bring ourselves back into that alignment with that faith, many times we're going to fall into other things that are going to distract us, deviate us from the journey. So personally, I always work with a coach and or a mentor, and I think that is most valuable thing that we can do because otherwise we're going to be in the comfort zone, and the comfort
Hmm.
zone bring us to repeat what is been the case for years. So if we want to break a paradigm, if we want to manifest something different, if we want to create something we never experienced, many times we have to kind of let go of that, heal whatever there is to heal, and let it go. Bye,
Yeah,
Felicia.
that's
Fast,
right.
right? And it's
Yes,
a process.
it is a
So that's why I
process.
think,
And I think
yeah,
one of the things that I have been learning is that it's a never ending process. This is going to keep happening. We're going to, as women who have known that we need to heal ourselves, we're doing the work. We're going through these transformational processes. And it's kind of funny because as soon as you think that you've nailed that one, you turn around and it's there staring you down again because it's not done because there's just a little bit more, or now there's something a little bit different that needs to be brought into the light. And that's what wholeness is. It's a continual process. And I think that it is a really beautiful process. Honestly, I think this is part of the reason that we're on this planet. I don't believe that we're here to be born and go to school and get a job and have a white picket fence and the family and retire and then die. Like, there's so much out there and so much inside of us that we can share and bring to the world. And I love the idea of bringing it into schools. I think that there really needs to be some collective, holistic health course as opposed to just the bits and pieces that kids get today. But that's for a whole other podcast. Um,
I know.
so I want to ask you though, because of all of your healing, your own inner work, and the journey that has brought you here, um, what are your favorites that you go to cultivate joy and ease and love in your life daily?
I love nature. That's a big one for me. I live close to the beach, so if I ever need to clear my head, the beach is my go-to. But just a walk in the neighborhood with my dogs, it's got the potency of clearing my head and like setting me straight. Basically, I love being with my family. I love traveling. I love dancing. I used to be a dance
Mm.
instructor in the Washington, D.C. area for 10 years. I taught all the social dances, Argentine tango, salsa, all the
Oof.
partner social dances. So I love doing that as well. Um, yeah, I love learning. When you said we're always going to continue doing that, as coaches, we talked about up leveling. It's like your life is here, and then you go through a process of growth, and then your life is here. And then you go through a process of growth, and then your life is here. So it's never ending, but we can overlook where we came from. So it's important that we celebrate ourselves in the process and we pat
Mhm.
ourselves in the back. And if we don't have the capacity to do that, that's what we do as coaches many times. Really celebrate the uniqueness of you, what you've gone through, the struggle, the growth, the audacity to take on whatever it is that you want to do, and believe that you deserve it, because ultimately that's the only thing that moves you forward. And so we're never stuck. We keep on learning, but we keep on growing and elevating our life. So for me, it's a never ending process, and it's the beauty of it. That's what I love the most. I'm always learning.
I would agree. I would agree. I am a student of everything. Um, and so, in closing today, this has been, I just love learning about you and the way you are bringing all this love and light and healing to women.
Hmm,
If you
thank you.
had, if you could summarize and give me like a one-liner of healing or of self-discovery for someone who may be struggling right now, what would that be?
Start an inner journey where you get away from the noise outside. Like we get overstimulated. You have the TV and the social media and the reading and whatever else we do that we consume. And the answer is always within. I feel that we seek out the guidance, the advice, the solution outside. And I firmly believe that the answer is within. But when we seek outside so much, we get distracted with the noise, the expectation, the projection people have on what we need to do or we should be doing or we haven't done. And it's very, very disempowering for ourselves. So, what I do, let's say I'm upset or I'm feeling down, I actually go within and I keep very quiet and I try to distinguish what is coming from a place of love and what is coming from a place of fear and start
Mhm.
bringing about, those fears to dissipate them. So being quiet is actually much better than seeking guidance nonstop and following the advice that comes from the outside. And when you understand what the root of the problem is, then you can seek the guidance. And if you don't understand what the root of the problem is and you find yourself in vicious cycles and feeling overwhelmed and giving up and getting resigned and cynical, then that's an indication that you need somebody to help you work through that, kind of dissect it, see it for what it is, let go of what no longer is, and recreate, manifest something new. So it's quieting down and eliminating the noise, I think, is the most important process of healing.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Mm.
And I think that in and of itself can be very intimidating for people, because if they get quiet, I'm just going to hear my brain talking to me all the time. And I don't really like what it says to me all the time. So why would I be quiet and listen to that? So I'm just going to stay busy. And so we have a few minutes left. I want you to maybe address that a little bit. What does the voice sound like that we could be paying more
The voice
attention to?
sounds very repetitive. Why did I do that again? I can't
Mm-hmm.
believe I did it again. I shouldn't have done that. I should have done that instead. Whoa, no, no, no. I can't do that. If I do that, people are going to think this way of me. Uh, if I do this, it's selfish. I got to do this for somebody else. I got to do this for. It's just very strong in nature,
Yeah.
repetitive.
And so the
It's
opposite is the one we need to be listening to, right?
Yeah, and we have to dig it out from underneath the rubble sometimes, because the other one is really loud. That's why I said being quiet, because you find the voice underneath the noise.
Ah, the
And
voice underneath the noise.
yeah,
Mm.
it's your voice that you need to find. The true soul voice says, we can do this. We're here to heal. We want to make a difference in the world. We want to touch the people's lives from a place of generosity and empowerment versus overwhelm and have to. And so basically, that's the process, to understand that you can do it, to not listen to the voice that's making yourself wrong and beating yourself up. Stop the nonsense with that and start listening to the voice of love within that says you can do it. You might need a little help, and you might need a little bit of space in a community to hold you. And that's what we do, hold space for women to heal, because a community provides us that mirror, provides us the inspiration, the support, the cheerleading, and the celebration. And so that's what the sense of community gives us, that we, many times in our own head, with all these traumas and darkness, we cannot get to. So if you need to seek out help, know there's no shame in seeking out help, and do it from a place of generosity, because you deserve it. And in you seeking out help, you make it okay for other people to do the same. That's how we build a better world.
That is how we build a better world. One person at a time, and then one person at a time, and then one more, and then one more. I love
Yep.
that, Natalia.
Thank you.
So do you have anything final to tell my listeners before
I
we
just
sign off?
I want to thank you for having me here. I do have a transformational workshop on Sunday at 11 a.m. And it is all about aligning with the energetic body. And so being able to align the chakras and the centers of energy. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
interested, feel free to DM me or send me a message, tag me, whatever.
Yes, how can
I'll
they
be
find
happy to
you,
send.
Natalia? How can they find
I
you?
have I have a group, a Facebook group that's called Optimal Holistic Health for Professional Women, and that's the current name. And you can ask to be a member, answer the 3 questions, have access to a lot of material of free trainings in the past, and the material that I release week after week. So thank you so much for having me here. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for letting me share. And it's been a joy to get to know you better and having this beautiful conversation. Thank you for holding space for that.
Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. I will also keep all of that information in the show notes. So if you've missed that, or if you're driving and listening to this, you can go back and find this, how to find Natalia and her beautiful holistic life coaching and personal training, and just the, what is it? The red cape. What
The
was
red,
the
red case, red,
the
oh, my accent gets on the
the
right.
red
Red
cape
cape
syndrome?
syndrome. Yes, we
If
got to
you
hang it.
feel like you have a red cape syndrome of trying to save the world, everybody except yourself, let's give you in touch with Natalia. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, sweet soul. And I will see you around.
Thank you.
And that concludes another episode of the Art of Being You podcast. I want to take the moment to thank you for listening, and I encourage you to bring forward all of your life experiences into every area of your life, into the boardroom, into your kitchen, into the dinner tables where you meet with your friends and family, and begin to explore and experience this human experience with each other, for our own healings. If you feel called, please comment, like, and share this episode so that we may continue the healing work that we came here to do on the planet. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. I love you all so much. It's crazy.